annihilate hatred. It builds you up till you've had enough. Then won't let you.
Hi, I'm Simon Murado, and today I'm talking to the star of Holding the Man, Ryan Corr.
Hi.
Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me, first of all, how did you get introduced to Holding the Man?
Well, I was at the same drama school as Tim actually ended up in, and when I was there in first year, Holding the Man, the play was going on at Griffin Theatre Company. But the effect of the book and just realising how far its reach was and how much it meant to so many people was really felt then. It was being talked about in my drama school. The teachers were using it as an example of really great writing and as a window into talking about this time in Australian history and in world history, really, when AIDS and HIV came down and there really wasn't anything we could do about it. It was a very different case to what it is now. So that was my first introduction to the story, and then sort of jumped 7 years later when Neil Armfield was making the film, and Tommy Murphy, who'd written the play, was also writing the screenplay. That was sort of my second. I was old enough to play Tim then, and because I knew the importance of the story, I sort of said to my agent, I'd really like to go and get this. It falls in line with what I believe in, and so that's when I got my hands on the book before the first audition and read it back to front and cried my eyes out. And when we were going through the film, that was of course what I could come back to all the time and draw from. If I wanted to know what was inside Tim's head, it was sort of there on paper.
Well, there's a few difficulties with this part, or I can imagine for an actor approaching it. I mean, first of all, it's a real person, it's a real story, he has a family, he has a legacy that you have to kind of honour. It's also a beloved character from a beloved book, so you have that fan base that you need to kind of respect as well. And you're also playing him from the age of 16 to when he's a full-grown man, so there are a lot of obstacles for a performer. Can you talk a bit about how you kind of approach those and if you had any hesitation once you had finally secured this role?
It was difficult not to feel the pressure, but just because this book meant so much to so many people, and you're exactly right. The responsibility became different to any other film I'd done. It was really a case of if the family gave us their blessing, or if at the end, we came some way to represent the memory of who these boys were. That was first and foremost. That was paramount. Once we'd done that, and we eventually got the family's blessing, Nick and Anna and Tim's mother came up and said, thank you for, you found Tim's essence, and Craig was so amazing at finding John's. So that was sort of like hands off from there, which is kind of unique, often it's sort of, it depends what happens in box office or how commercially successful the film is. It was a different set of priorities for this film.
Hurry, please, I've got dinner on. Tell your friends not to call at dinner time.
I can call back.
What? Why?
Are you dinner?
No, it's okay. We're having casserole.
Chops.
We just had chops and mashed potato.
You describe them as boys, and at the start of the film and the book, they are absolutely that. They are teenagers, they're 16 years old. Now, you're a NIDA graduate, as was Tim, and in the film, we see you doing some fairly interesting type of acting method classes. I'm curious how you take those skills and how you transform into a 16-year-old. You're not going back too far, it's only about a decade, but what do you do to kind of act 16? I'm sure the wigs helped, but what else?
Right. Well, first of all, you fit a school uniform very, very differently. And, I don't think, there were kids, we could justify, there were kids that when I was 17 that, were fully grown men then. So, having a bit of stubble or looking a bit more adult, I guess, was okay. But for me, it was a thought process. Like, I thought at 17 I was on top of it. I knew exactly who I was. But the reality was I was still finding it. I was still finding that out. The wigs helped a lot. I mean, often we'd be shooting 3 decades in a day. We'd sort of go in and do and we'd know where we were by the wig. So we'd put the long one on, okay, we're 17 again.
You've also got Jeffrey Rush, Anthony LaPaglia, Guy Pearce, Kerry Fox, all these great kind of...
small fry
actors. Small fry actors,
Yeah.
The kids that are really just looking for that break.
Yeah.
But I was kind of curious, what kind of acting lessons do you learn when you're working with these legends, people who've had 20, 30 years more in the industry?
Yeah, and I mean, all different. It was variant what we'd learned from all of them because we'd obviously worked with them at different stages in the film. But overwhelmingly, their process was very similar to us. Having Jeffrey Rush come up at the start of scenes and sort of say, what do you think about, I was thinking about doing this for this scene, and what do you think? And you're actually asking me to. But how welcoming and how warm that is, and how it's all about the work and making these scenes as real and as detailed and as buoyant as possible, and knowing that these actors, these great actors who we'd idolised and seen coming up in our careers, that their process was the same as ours, and that it's all aimed to get the best material possible.
It's taken 2 decades for Holding the Man to get made. Why so long? And why now?
Well, I think it's amazing that it's happened now. Kylie Dufresne, who's the producer, sat down with me at the start of it and said this story had its own momentum. It's been Tommy's had the script for about 10 years, and look, I think for numerous amounts of reasons in this culture and in this country, and that it may not have been ready to be made. But Kylie talked about it having its own momentum, telling them when it wanted to be made, and the fact that we've now landed. Completely coincidentally and serendipitously in a place that there's a national debate about marriage equality, is not lost on us. It's kind of wonderful, but that's almost a bonus.
Thank you all. Stop it! Keep going.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel, or find more of our stuff at studentedge.com.au.